President Trump has warned against putting the U.S.-Saudi relationship at risk. That comes amid increased tensions over the disappearance of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Well, major companies registered for the so-called Davos in the Desert Conference in Riyadh next week still plan to attend, despite growing pressure for a boycott. Now, several companies, including Bloomberg, have pulled out of the Future Investment Initiative event as media partners. Now, joining us for the very latest on the situation from Dubai is Zainab Fattah, Bloomberg's Gulf economy reporter. Zainab, just bring us up to date on when we're expecting Saudi Arabia to respond. So the media have grisly allegations. We seem to be getting, a drip feed of information almost daily, if not hourly, but we haven't really heard from Saudi Arabia.
It's truly still deafening silence from Saudi Arabia. While the Secretary Pompeo went back to the U.S. and said that they are planning and committed to a transparent investigation, we have not heard anything about this from the Saudis in terms of outlines of the investigation, who's carrying the investigation out. They said the public prosecutor would be, but any details about how the investigation will be carried out and transparency around it. So far, from what we know, that the newspapers in the U.S. have been publishing very damaging pictures for the crown, stories for the Crown Prince, tying him to people suspected by Turkey of carrying out the attacks, the attack on Jamal Khashoggi in the consulate in Istanbul.
Zainab, if you look at, world growth, they're very reliant on oil. We heard from President Trump that actually the arms deal should not be put in question because of what's going on in this investigation. Congress may think otherwise. If Congress puts sanctions on Saudi Arabia, will they retaliate by cutting down the taps?
Well, no one would know how this will really play out for sure, because high-level negotiations are going on. President Trump is trying as much as possible to temper this, but he may not be able to persuade Congress to not sanction Saudi Arabia amid a wave of anger from both sides of the aisle. Now, basically, the ramifications can be huge for Riyadh, because cutting the weapons shipments can hurt them, because a lot of their weapons are already American made, and buying weapons from Russia or China won't be easy because of the integration of these systems. So there are no easy answers for Riyadh, but we know from last week when they were editorial or an article citing people close to the government that there are possibility of using oil as a weapon and citing other measures. We don't know really how the government later on of Saudi Arabia kind of backtracked on a lot of those comments and said that basically those who are representing the person who wrote them, not the government of Saudi Arabia. But no one really knows how that will play out in the end.